Hey, Cecil, how you doing?
Hey, Coach. I'm good.
Cecil, just kind of update us. I know you guys put the story out last night about Kobie Baker being in Atlanta, meeting with the financial advisor regards to maybe Colin Sexton being represented. Didn't realize he was talking to the FBI. Just kind of tell us where everything is right now.
Yeah, one thing, I think the guy's more of an advisor to an advisor. You know, it gets you have runners, probably what you'd call him. He's a suit guy and so forth. But yeah, it was a meeting really just a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and um, this guy had been involved with other coaches with Chuck Person, where he was trying to get those coaches to steer players, highly talented players, to his advisory service, whether that's agentry or investment or exactly how that was going to break down. I don't know. He's going to get access to money. That was what the idea was, and in order to get access to that NBA money, that big money, he was willing to pay these coaches, or in Kobie's case, administrators, for that access. It's a situation that the FBI was looking into. One of the people who was present at the meeting was an FBI confidential witness, somebody who was cooperating with the FBI, who videoed it, who audioed it. So, I think Kobie found out yesterday that these things had gone down, that Chuck Person had been arrested and so forth, and that in the indictment that was issued at the U.S. Attorney's Office in New York was a story that if you read it and you know the background, pretty obvious who was involved. And so Alabama had reason to suspect that. And I think that Kobie ultimately said, yes, this is what happened, resigned, and they'll go from there.
Uh, is there any danger, or do we know if there's any danger as far as going ahead and letting Colin Sexton practice?
Um, they'll get a ruling on that. Compliance gets those pretty quickly. If they think he's ineligible, then no, he won't practice. I don't know that they have any reason to think that he's ineligible.
Yeah.
He wasn't there. If the dad says he didn't take anything, that's something that you have to contact the league office and NCAA compliance about. So if you think there's danger, you don't do it, but you get a ruling. You don't just do it and then let them come back and say, well, you shouldn't have done it. You get a ruling before you do it.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
See, so was this a situation where Greg Byrne got a call from the FBI that said, "Hey, look, we got one of your staff members here. You may want to call him in and check him out." I mean, you think that's how it went down, and then Greg Byrne in turn calls in Kobie, asks him the questions, and then they find out what went down. Do you think the FBI called Greg Byrne in this situation?
No, I think Greg Byrne, like most of the athletic directors around the country, as soon as this went down, called all his staff members in and started asking questions. As far as I know, he hadn't been contacted by the FBI.
Did what the way the thing read? So it sounded like Kobie did take a cash payment. Maybe he was going to get more in order.
According to the FBI's informant witness, yes, he did.
I guess my question is there, and I'm not for anybody going to jail. What is the difference between that, maybe, and what Chuck Person and those guys did that actually went to jail? Was it the amount of money? Did he not take enough to where it warranted jail time? What kept Kobie from having to go to jail?
You'd have to ask the FBI what in their information they saw that made it different. They may not feel like they had. They may feel like, for instance, this is hypothetical on my part. I don't know this. Just answering your question, since that's what if you ask it, I'll try and answer it. One possibility would be that they know in Chuck Person's case that the parent took the money. That Chuck didn't just put it in his pocket. Whereas in Kobie's case, they don't know that the money changed hands again, and so it may have been different from that standpoint. Yeah. Certainly, they had more information on Chuck Person, than one meeting. But you'd have to ask the FBI and the U.S. Attorney in New York why he chose to charge some people, and at least at this point, not charge others. That certainly doesn't preclude them from coming in later. And lots of people are going to be talking, and they may get more information. So nobody's out of the woods that's involved in this thing. But at this point, that would be my guess. But now you'd have to ask the FBI and the U.S. Attorney.
Yeah, that.
Well, it'd be a situation where as athletic director, I have a staff meeting and I find out what I need to find out, or what I think I need to find out, and then instead of having the basketball coach call in as the athletic director, I call in and ask if you have any problems with our program. Will the ADs in the conference, you think, basically do that, or will they leave it up to the basketball coach?
Well, I would think, knowing Greg Sankey's background, he has an NCAA background as well. Obviously, the ADs are going to ultimately be responsible for it.
Yeah.
So they'll certainly be in contact with their basketball coaches. The basketball coaches are meeting in Birmingham today. It's an annual meeting. I think y'all had the same meeting.
I think they canceled it.
Yeah, I think they canceled it, Cecil. It was canceled last night.
Yeah, because probably guys are, have things that they need to do on their campus before they get to Birmingham.
Yes, I think that meeting was scheduled. This wasn't a meeting that was put together last second. It was always scheduled.
Right. I think the women's coaches were there yesterday for the same reason. It had nothing to do with any of this.
Well, I think if you don't, I would say that if you're the basketball coach, you're not going to call in and hoping that none of your guys did anything. But when a guy says to you that I'm coming to you to ask you questions, the only problem is I have the answers.
Right.
That's a pretty scary statement.
Sure it is. But again, this is a unique situation. The FBI has put a lot of resources into this, and not excusing this. If people got caught doing something wrong, they were still doing something wrong. But obviously, you want to know everything that goes on in your program, and Avery Johnson hadn't had a comment yet, but there's no other coaches mentioned. There's no mention that any coach was aware of this. It wasn't in the recruiting process. I think that would be, if I were, again, I hadn't spoken with him on this particular matter, but if I were the head coach, first of all, I'd be extremely angry, and I'd be extremely frustrated. This had nothing to do with recruiting anybody. This is 3 weeks ago, after the kid's on your campus and played in exhibition games and so forth, and yet you put the kids. You're not Kobie's certainly an administrator, but you're not the guy who recruited him. You're not the guy who's coaching him, and you put his eligibility at risk. I know exactly how you'd have reacted if one of those. You came into the office one day and they said, "Well, by the way, James Robinson can't play because one of the associate ADs is out messing around."
Can you imagine that, Cecil?
Yeah, or he's got to stay home for a while. So yeah, that'd have gone over well.
Yeah, I think it shows you how, and because you're around the programs, like when Nick Saban, they sign it. Just about all their guys are 5-star guys. Well, 5-star guys bring on a lot of hanger-oners. In football, I know they got to stay 3 years, but I think that's probably why it's so tough to get in and out of that building over there, because they don't want those people around, and they get them there, and they can't go pro for 3 years. So I think Nick Saban can educate them on everything. But 5-star guys, they're great to get, but they're hard to handle because they bring on a lot of people around them, don't they, Cecil?
Always been that way, Barry. Coaches had to deal with it, had to deal with it with Derek's situation, Derek McKee's, and people smell money. They're going to sniff around. They're going to try and get something for nothing, or something for not very much. They think they can exploit these kids and parents. They think they can take advantage of them, and they think it's like playing the lottery. That if you get the right guy, he's going to get that $30 million contract. I think that it's very difficult to keep them away, and I think the NCAA could do more to help. I think, for instance, taking the high school coaches out of the football coaching loop, that just creates a vacuum. If you take the parent out, if you take the high school coach out, you're not going to stop these guys. People smell money, and you're not going to stop them from trying to get that money. So it's an ongoing challenge, and yes, that's exactly one reason why people say, "Oh, he doesn't like the media." It's not just the media why people shut down practices and tighten access.
Yeah, I think the one thing you said, you hit the nail on the head. Here's Colin Sexton. He's never even had a college practice, really, or played in a game. And you got an administrator talking to a financial guy about him going pro. There's a lot of 6'2" guards running around. I hear you when you said that. I don't know, Dad, how would you handle that situation? All of a sudden, your kid's eligibility is put in jeopardy as hard as you work to recruit him. How would you react if somebody came in there and told you that went on in that situation, Dad?
Well, of course, y'all are talking about my personality, which is, different, I guess. Of course, I had to have a fit, and I'd call the guy in to find out, know exactly what went on, and to be quite honest with you, I fired one over it. I fired a coach over a situation with a kid. I called him in, fired him, and I thought that was a thing to do, and it was a thing to do. So that's what I did. I didn't make I don't even know that, I don't know, Cecil probably didn't remember it, but I just called him in and said, "Look, this is not going to work for us," because I could tell he was getting involved, and we were right in the middle of recruiting. In fact, it was my second or third year as the coach. I fired him.
No, I'm not going. I remember it. I'm not going to.
I was about to say, you said Cecil won't remember. Cecil will remember.
I'm answering the question as to, what you said, and then what I did was I fired him.
Yeah, Cecil, before we let you go, I think a lot of people will be watching tomorrow. I think college basketball practice can start, and there'll be people watching at Auburn and all these places, seeing if guys are held out. There's probably other situations we don't know. So that'll be a big watch. I'm sure most of the practices will be closed, but will people be able to find out who was held out of practice and who wasn't this early in the process?
Yeah, I think so. You can't run a practice without people. You can tell them not to say, but to be perfectly frank about it, Avery's he's good with the media. He's forthcoming. Now he will not do something that would embarrass his player. He's not going to do that. And again, let me be technical about this. I know you dealt with this the other day. Colin's name is not named, but they talk about a highly regarded prospect from Atlanta. Alabama signed one kid from Atlanta, so it's not rocket science to put that together. Nobody's trying to embarrass him. He didn't approach somebody. He didn't do anything. Somebody else set this all up, and so Avery won't do anything that would be embarrassing to him. But I think he understands that there'll be interest in it, and he may well be allowed to practice pending further investigation or pending a ruling. There's certainly precedent for that, for letting guys. He's not participating. He's not competing in a game. So he may be allowed to practice. He may not. We'll have to see. But I would think Avery would address it.
Yeah, I think you would too. Cecil, as always, we appreciate it.
Thank you
very
Cecil.
much.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thanks.